Take Justin Timberlake's breakout hit Rock Your Body. That song was literally written for Michael Jackson. Usher? He built his stardom by studying MJ so obsessively, Rolling Stone called him the first and most obvious Jackson follower of the 90s. Chris Brown flat out says Jackson is the reason he makes music. Full stop. We are not talking casual influence. These artists, and plenty more, simply would not exist as we know them without Michael Jackson's blueprint. But just how deep does that lineage go? In 2002, Justin Timberlake launched his solo career with Rock Your Body, a song that was not just influenced by Michael Jackson, it was built for him down to the last groove. The story starts with the Neptunes, Pharrell Williams, and Chad Hugo, who wrote a stack of tracks for Michael Jackson's Invincible sessions around 2000. Pharrell later said they sent Jackson pretty much all the material you hear on Timberlake's first album, Justified. All but one song were written for Michael. But Jackson passed, and his manager John McClane bluntly told Pharrell that Michael did not want that material. He wanted the songs you were giving Noriega. So those songs, including Rock Your Body, ended up in Timberlake's hands. When Justified dropped, that Neptune sound, originally tailored for Jackson's signature style, powered Timberlake straight to the top. Rock Your Body hit number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became the calling card for Timberlake's solo identity. This was not just inspiration. Timberlake's entire launch as a solo artist rode on music crafted for the king of pop himself. That is not homage. That is direct inheritance. Usher didn't just draw inspiration from Michael Jackson, he built his entire stage persona on a blueprint Jackson had already sketched in neon. By the time Usher's My Way dropped in 1997, dance historians were already breaking down frame by frame how his moves echoed Jackson's. The crisp shoulder pops, the whip-fast spins, the way he'd freeze mid-step before sliding into a moonwalk. It is textbook MJ, not just in spirit but in technical detail. Rolling Stone called Usher the first and most obvious Jackson follower of the 90s, and it is not hard to see why. His live shows from that era are a masterclass in choreographic inheritance. Toe stands lifted straight from Billie Jean, isolations that mirror bad tour routines, and 4-count hand gestures that feel like direct quotes from Jackson's playbook. Usher didn't just study the moves, he studied the physics, the timing, the showmanship. Every pivot, every glide, every crowd-teasing pause was a lesson learned from watching Jackson set the standard. There is no Usher as we know him without that apprenticeship. He is proof that the king of pop's movement vocabulary didn't just inspire, it got passed down step for step. Chris Brown does not hedge or play coy about his musical DNA. In June 2009, right after Michael Jackson's death, Brown put it in plain language, thus, "Michael Jackson is the reason why I do music and why I am an entertainer." Full stop. This is not the usual name check or polite nod. This is a direct statement of origin. Brown's entire performance vocabulary, from the gliding footwork to the single glove, is a living archive of Jackson's innovations. At the 2010 BET Awards, Brown took the stage for a tribute that went beyond choreography. He did not just copy the moves, he collapsed on stage, overcome during Man in the Mirror. The moment was raw, unscripted, and for a lot of fans, it was the most honest tribute of the night. Brown later called it a defining moment, a chance to show that his connection to Jackson was not just about dance steps or stage costumes, it was about purpose. When Brown says Michael Jackson is the reason, he means it in every sense. There is no Chris Brown as we know him without that foundation. Period. Beyoncé's Super Bowl 50 performance didn't just make headlines for its choreography or set list, it sent a message in gold braid and black leather. The military jacket she wore, designed by Riccardo Tisci for Givenchy, was a direct callback to Michael Jackson's own Super Bowl moment in 1993. Epaulettes, gold trim, and the unmistakable structure were not just fashion choices, they were a deliberate signal, a visual code passed from one pop monarch to another. Tisci told Vogue he dove into Jackson's archives, studying every detail of that original halftime look. The result was a jacket that echoed Michael Jackson's iconic presence, down to the placement of each gold cord. No legal clearance was needed for this kind of homage, just a designer's reverence and a performer's intent. In that moment, Beyoncé was not just referencing Jackson, she was channeling him, using fashion as cultural shorthand. The image landed instantly. The world saw the jacket, and the lineage was clear. Beyoncé's performance proved that in pop, visuals are not just decoration, they are inheritance. Bruno Mars didn't just listen to Michael Jackson. He spent his childhood becoming him night after night in smoky Honolulu lounges. Before he ever wrote a hit, Bruno was the kid in the fedora, nailing the moonwalk and the toe stand for tourists, soaking up every detail from Jackson's stagecraft like it was gospel. He has said it straight, "I studied Michael Jackson. That's my blueprint." That blueprint didn't fade when Bruno traded the lounge circuit for stadiums. Watch his 2014 Super Bowl halftime show and the echoes are unmistakable. Sharp spins, split-second freezes, a toe stand that lands with the same weight Jackson brought to Motown 25. The choreography, the crowd work, even the way he paces a set list all trace back to those early years copying Michael Jackson move for move. The 24K Magic Tour was built on the same live ritual Jackson perfected. A tight band, call and response, dance breaks that feel less like imitation and more like a passing of the torch. For Bruno, impersonation grew into architecture. The show itself, every beat and gesture, is a living reminder. You're watching someone who built his entire stage presence on the Michael Jackson template. Neyo's time in the studio is a masterclass in tracing the blueprint straight back to Michael Jackson's early 80s playbook. Listen to Because of You. From 2007, the falsetto runs, the crisp phrasing, the way the verses melt into the bridge with that unmistakable sense of tension and release. It is not just influence, it is technique lifted from Off the Wall and Thriller, then rebuilt for a new era. Neyo has said it out loud. When it comes to vocals, songwriting, and movement, Michael is the template. Producers who worked with Neyo, like Shay Taylor, have broken down how sessions would hit a wall until Neyo asked, "What would Michael do here?" The answer was always in the details. Stacked harmonies, a melodic twist, a rhythmic leap that felt like a private nod to Michael Jackson's studio wizardry. This is how the blueprint survives, not just in the spotlight, but in the quiet work of writing, arranging, and singing, with Jackson's DNA coded into every note. For Neyo, the booth is a classroom, and the teacher is always Michael. Kanye West doesn't just sample Michael Jackson. He negotiates with an estate that knows exactly how valuable those sounds are. When Kanye wanted to use I Can't Help It for Hey Mama, the clearance was not a handshake deal. Jackson's estate, now run by Sony and John Branca, sets some of the highest fees in the business. Billboard reported in 2018 that getting a piece of MJ's catalog can mean giving up half the royalties, or more, just for a single sample. In 2010, Kanye's team had to navigate this tangle for Dark Fantasy, with the estate scrutinizing every second. For hip-hop producers, the Jackson sample is not just a creative choice, it is a financial gamble. The rules are clear. If you want to tap into that blueprint, you pay the price. Drake doesn't just nod to Michael Jackson. He weaves Michael Jackson into the fabric of his brand, track after track. On Pop Style, the Jackson name was set to appear in the credits until a sample got pulled at the last minute, a move that made headlines when Genius annotated the missing feature. Even when the estate says no, the intention is clear. Lyrically, Drake sprinkles Michael Jackson references across his catalog. On headlines, he rides a beat that is a clear wink to Billie Jean, and lines like, "Not even Michael could touch this" in The Ride are both flex and homage. Genius logs dozens of Michael Jackson name checks, time-stamped and verified. For Drake, invoking Michael isn't just tribute. It's a way to signal pop dominance, to borrow a bit of that untouchable aura and bake it right into the DNA of modern rap hooks. Lil Wayne treats Michael Jackson references like currency, never rare, always valuable. In 6 Foot 7 Foot, he drops real G's move in silence like lasagna, like MJ Doctor, I Kill Mikes, right at the 45-second mark, and that is just one of dozens. The track Mr. Carter isn't just a play on his own name, It is a nod to Jackson's full name, Michael Joseph Jackson. Genius logs Wayne's Michael Jackson punchlines across mixtapes and albums, each one a shorthand for untouchable status. On Who Sampled, Wayne's Jackson references and samples rank among the highest in hip-hop, proof that for Wayne, invoking Michael Jackson is as natural as breathing, a flex, a salute, and a claim to pop immortality all at once. This isn't about influence, it's about DNA. The biggest names in pop, R&B, and hip-hop flat out don't exist as we know them without Michael Jackson's blueprint. Every new superstar still builds on that foundation. The question now is, who will rewrite the rules next? Drop your thoughts below.